Why can I not look at my Steam page? There we go. What up, simps? This is gonna be a fucking long video. Are you ready? I'm currently sick with COVID. It may not sound like it, but it's because I'm on the tail end of it and I'm feeling quite better, but I still have it. But I haven't done what I played for the month of April, and I don't know if you know this, it's more than halfway through the month of May. So what I'm going to do to compensate for this is I'm just going to have... Because... Okay, this month made me realize that I definitely need to just write down every game I play and the day that I play it. Because I played Dark Souls 2 in April, but now, and there's no way that I can tell when, like, I first, you know, like, there's no, like, timeline of me playing a game. So I just have to start writing it down. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over all of April and all of May so far, and then we'll see how that goes. So I'm not going to fucking beat around the bush. We're just going it one by one. First game I played is Slay the Spire Downfall. This is a mod, a official mod, I guess, for the incredible roguelike card game Slay the Spire. If you've never played Slay the Spire, it's a turn-based deck building roguelike where you like traverse this spire, going higher and higher and higher until you get to the end of the spire. That's essentially the whole fucking thing. There's really not much more than that. The spire's evil, I guess. I don't know if there's a story. I've never paid attention to it. But you get all these, there's like a couple different characters you can play as, and this mod just adds more of them. You get to play as I think 2 bosses, and then 1 brand new character, which is like a gunslinger. This is a free mod. I'm not going to say too much about this because I think that everybody should just play Slay the Spire. If any of what I said is interesting at all, it's worth it. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube that you can look up about, what kind of game it is. You can look at a review. You can look at gameplay. You can look at you'll know. It's one of my favorite games ever. I think it might have the most hours I have on Steam out of any game. Yeah, 353. I don't usually tank a lot of hours in Steam, but Slay the Spire definitely has a lot of my time. And it sucks because I'm not that good at it. But play Slay the Spire if you haven't. Downfall is just a beneficial mod with 0 downfall. The next game I played was Lords of the Fallen. This is notorious for being not only the first Souls-like, but also being really not good. And I went into this thinking that maybe time had been kind to it, and that when it was released, people kind of only had Dark Souls to go off of, and anything not quite up to the level of quality of Dark Souls would be detrimental to its initial impact. You know what I mean. So I went into this with low expectations, but, thinking that maybe I would, not hate it, that I would find some good quality in it. And I did find some good things in there. I don't think it's terrible, but I think the public reaction was precisely correct. There is... Okay, how do I even put this? People think Dark Souls 2 is bad for a lot of reasons, but I think one of the big ones that people think, or one of the most common things I hear a lot of the time is it's way too slow. Its combat is so tedious. Its combat is sludge incarnate. And compared to Lords of the Fallen, Dark Souls 2 is as fast as Dark Souls 3 is. Like, there's no comprehensible reason that Lords of the Fallen's combat is as slow as it is. It takes upwards of 2 seconds to swing your weapon sometimes. I cannot even fathom what they were thinking. Also, poise might as well not exist. If an enemy has his shield up, that shield is staying up. Almost no matter how many times you hit it. It's incredibly frustrating. It's tedious. It's boring. It's slow. It's molasses. It's not fun. One day, I will finish this game. One day. But today is not that day. Its heart was in the right place, but I think that heart might be a pacemaker. Again, I played some more Kards. I went over this, I think my first episode of what I played. My opinion is exactly the same. I still love card games. This is the second card game on the list. I think there might be one more. It's just a really good, super well-designed trading card game. Not a trading card game, a collectible card game. There's seemingly endless strategy. There's countless cards now. There's like, I think there's an expansion coming out like once a year at least. So there's at least 60 cards coming out a year. It doesn't seem like it's going to slow down anytime soon. It's just a really well-made game. Well-designed, pretty well-balanced. The community seems to be small but pretty fervent. And the team making it seems to be very passionate about the game that they're making, and I commend them for that. It's a very, very good game. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. If you like card games, if you like competitive card games, Kards, the World War II card game, is one of the best. And I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that. Dark Souls Remastered. So, Noah Gervais uploaded a video talking about how he played the trilogy and beat the trilogy, the Dark Souls trilogy. And his video was so good that it made me stop playing Elden Ring and start playing the trilogy again instead. And I had only beaten Dark Souls once. I've gotten close many times, but I've only actually beaten it once. But this go around, I beat it a second time, and I beat every single boss in the game, which is something I've definitely never done. I think it's good to not play Dark Souls very often, because this last playthrough, I felt that feeling playing Dark Souls again, and I think you know what I'm talking about when I say that. Dark Souls 1 is magic. It's there's a reason it's as beloved as it is, and if you don't play it a lot, and then come back to it after a little while, you get that sensation of playing it for the first time again sometimes. Its interconnected world is unparalleled. Its game design is magnificent. Its level design is some of the best ever made. And its bosses are good. I have a very hot take when it comes to Dark Souls games. I don't play the Dark Souls games for the bosses 95% of the time. If I could get a Dark Souls game that played like Dark Souls 2, had the level design of Dark Souls 1, it had 0 bosses in it, I think it might be my favorite game ever made. Not 0, but you know what I mean. I play Dark Souls for the level design and the enemy placement and all that stuff. Dark Souls 1 is, I mean, it's truly a damn near 10 out of 10, if not a 10 out of 10. It's magic in 6-7 gigabytes. It's crazy. The next game I played was Lisa the Painful. I was streaming this last month. I do intend on coming back to this. This is one of the first big RPG Maker games that I remember hearing about. One of the first big like super emotional RPG Maker games I remember hearing about. I was not prepared for how legitimately funny it is. I was kind of under the impression it was just a sad time all around, but no, it's kind of crazy playing this now for the first time and kind of seeing all of these seeds planted here and, you know, in games before this, but like so common now, being so focused and presented in the way that they are here, because it's kind of looking simultaneously into the past and into the future at the same time. It's a very good game. I'm currently lost, if I remember correctly. I haven't played it because I want to play it streaming, and I've just, doing a whole lot of things. I've not been really able to stream. So sometime soon I will pick this game back up and I will stream it because I do want to know what happens. I do not know what happens. I want to know why everybody says this game is so sad. I have a couple ideas as to why it's sad, or what happens. I mean, I know it's a sad game, but you know what I mean. But I have a couple theories, but it's got some good. By the way, the music again, just like the music is incredible. The gameplay, like the combat is interesting. I think the combat is the most safe. In like a lot of games that lay the foundation for a lot of more future things, there's always one aspect of something that sets a trend that kind of gets left behind as time goes on, and I think the combat of Lisa the Painful is the thing that kind of gets left behind. It's very straightforward. You know, it's your classic, like, you have a team, you have a party, your party focuses on specific little things individually, those people do that well or not, and then you fight based around that. It's your standard classic RPG combat mechanic system, and there's nothing wrong with it, but that's like the one thing I think that doesn't hold up all that well. The next game I played was Paratopic. I played this because I wanted to make a video on it, but I don't know if I have much to say about it. It looks like I didn't finish it because I only played 45 minutes, but I did indeed finish it. But I don't think that I got all of the endings. I think there are multiple endings. That being said, it is an interesting game. A lot of people say that Silent Hill is very Lynchian. And in some senses it is, especially the first one, arguably the second one too. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I've never seen it so... I've never been able to kind of like make that connection as easily as some people can. Paratopic is playing a David Lynch film. It's dreamlike, the dialogue is bizarre, it's got this kind of like foreboding, weird, like mysterious presence like just hanging above you at all times, and the art style feels wrong in the way that a David Lynch's film cinematography is just kind of weird and wrong a little bit. The color palette is kind of like this like weird greenish hue that that like envelops your senses with this constant feeling of just like sickness a little bit. And I think the most Lynchian thing about it is its dialogue and its dreamlike quality, both of which are not mutually exclusive. There's a lot of interesting things going on here, and maybe I need to play it a couple more times to find all of the endings to really put all the pieces together. But you know what? It's kind of like if David Lynch made the Blair Witch Project. I think that's the best way to put this game. If that sounds interesting and you've never played it, Ragnarox did a good video on it. I'll try to link it here. And if you don't want to spoil anything, then just play it. I think... How much is this game? I think it's like $10. It's $5.49 USD. You could do a whole lot worse. It's very interesting. I don't regret playing it. I just don't think that I had enough to say about it than I intended to going into it, if that makes any sense. I did it! I played Frog Fractions. I'm not going to spoil Frog Fractions, but this game gets fucking bizarre. I don't know how to go about telling you about this without spoiling it, apart from saying you just need to play Frog Fractions. I will say this, look at this screenshot. This is part of Frog Fractions. I'm on a dragon. The end. Play Frog Fractions. I played Omori again, because I hate myself, apparently. I have a whole video on Omori. It's my biggest video on the channel. It's incredibly touching. It's the saddest I've ever been after experiencing any form of entertainment in my life. I was genuinely bedridden for 2 weeks upon completing Omori. And no, I'm not kidding. No, I'm not sorry. No, I'm not even ashamed by that. This game destroyed me. And if you've never played it, never seen anything on Omori, and you like RPG Maker games, play Omori. This is now and forever will be the new Lisa the Painful in terms of like, this is the next big RPG Maker game that all other ones will kind of have to at some point credit along the way. This game's fucked up. How effective it is at doing what it sets out to do. There's not much more I can say about it that I haven't already said, and to be honest, I don't make any more Omori content on my channel because I don't feel like I have anything else to say on this game anyway. So what I've done here is already more than I really have anyway. Excuse me. Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall. This was free. All the OG Elder Scrolls games are free. Is Morrowind's not free, is it? I think just the first 2 Elder Scrolls games are free. For a very, very long time, this is the biggest game ever made. It's gargantuan. The amount of ambition put into this game is kind of unbelievable. It set the precedent for RPGs forever, I think. It's very deep mechanically. Its scope is enormous. Its range of areas is massive. Its dungeons are complex. Its dungeons are many. Its dungeons are huge. It does not hold up. You need to download the Unity version of this. There's a couple instructions in the discussions, maybe even in the guides, especially in the community hub, on how to get the Unity version of this game working. It's not hard. It's the only way that you can play this game now, I think. The only way to play this game, if you're going to play it, is through the Unity engine version, and even then, I don't think it holds up all that well. But it's still good for what it is and what it was. The Evil Within 2! Oh! So in my last video, which I will again try to leak here, I said the only open world games that are horror games that I can think of off the top of my head are Silent Hill Downpour, The Evil Within 2, and Darkwood. I also stated, while I had never played The Evil Within 2 or Darkwood, etc., etc., well, those statements are not true now because I have played The Evil Within 2 and Darkwood. I only played Darkwood for a little bit. I kind of found that I had to craft stuff in Darkwood, and I don't know, crafting at this point in time, and it's in so many games that it's almost just an immediate turnoff. I might go back and play Darkwood. I probably will, just because I hear almost nothing but good things about it. But my first impressions of The Evil Within 2 are so negative. I don't understand why people like this game so much. I don't even know if I could properly explain why I dislike what I played from The Evil Within 2. Its over-reliance on stealth is just, like, desperate. Its level design is fine. One of the few things I did was I went into a house and it was, like, haunted all of a sudden. I was like, oh, stuff like this is cool. Stuff like this is what I wanted to have in Remorse the List. I don't know. I'm gonna give it another chance sometime here soon, but oh my god, I fucking hated this. I was miserable playing this game. And everybody says The Evil Within 2 is so much better than the first one. Bro, I beat The Evil Within, and I only stopped enjoying The Evil Within as much as I did at the beginning when I started shooting shit with bazookas near the end. The Evil Within is so much better than this game. I do not understand why people like this one more. This game feels desperate. It feels like it has no ideas, so they said, well, we'll just make it open world. Like, what the fuck? I'm frustrated, but I'm gonna get more frustrated later. That's Evil Within 2. I have a couple more games before I start getting really frustrated. And then I played Darkwood, and I kind of already went over what I did. The atmosphere for this game is so good. The atmosphere is what's going to keep me coming back to this game at some point, when I get past the fact that I have to craft all the time. It's a top-down, I don't know what kind of art style, it's not hand-drawn, but it looks like it's a legitimate, like, 1996 point-and-click game, almost. It kind of looks like if the old-school isometric game Sanitarium was top-down a little bit. It's not pre-rendered, though, like Sanitarium is, but you're essentially, like, in this Darkwood, and, like, there's, like, it's apparently, like, post-apocalypse. There's, like, this, like, weird thing that's, like, spreading throughout this whole forest that's, like, infecting all of these people and all of the land around you. And from what I understand, it's literally just a survival game with horror okay, it by definition it is a survival horror game, but it is not. It does not play anything like like what you think a survival horror game is. There's a difference between the words that I'm saying and the words that I mean when I say it is a survival horror game. It is very spooky. I've heard that it is one of the scariest games that a lot of people have played. And I can kind of see where they're coming from. I've seen a little bit of footage from like later in the game, and I can see myself really getting into it at some point later, if I let myself do so. I hope I can get past the fact that there's crafting in it, because, as I said previously, when a game uses crafting in the way that Darkwood uses crafting, it feels really desperate as, like, from a developer standpoint. Like, I don't know, it's just so overdone, it's so played out, and I know this game's older, so it might have been from before that was kind of, like, so commonplace. I can't remember. I want to say this game came out in 2015? 2017. But I really like the atmosphere. I like what the world is. And I want to play an open world horror game that's good. Evil Within 2 so far ain't that. And definitely not Silent Hill Downpour. Ooh, no, not Silent Hill Downpour. Sorry, Tom Hewlett. Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion, HD renovation. I played this just to show a friend of mine who hadn't seen it. This is a fantastic game. This is made by Cura, the same guy that made Lost in Vivo. First of all, it's got Spooky in it. Spooky's the cutest ghost of all time. Everybody loves Spooky, even though she maliciously hates you and wishes you death. It's a procedurally generated 1,000-room, in quotations, haunted mansion that initially starts out super cute, super adorable, and you think, oh, it's a jump scare mansion, ha 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 ha. There's literally like cardboard things that jump out of the wall and spook you. But it slowly, in a very, articulated manner, progressively gets more and more fucked up to the point where you are in just a straight up horror game that does not fuck around. It gets genuinely very scary near the end of it, very unsettling, and it's absolutely worth every penny that you put into it, because there are, I think, 2 extra game modes. There's the dollhouse, which is right here, and then there is like a hospital that you can explore that is like its own like Silent Hill level, its own Silent Hill dungeon. Essentially like a hospital in a Silent Hill game that is its own like mini mode. It's very, very good. It's been memed to death, I think, by this point, but it's memed for a reason. I thoroughly enjoy Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion. This and Lost in Vivo, by the same developer, made me want to play every single thing this person ever puts out. They did just put out a new game recently that I haven't been able to play yet. I want to soon. Hopefully sooner than later. But Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion is a modern classic. Like, unironically, very, very good. The Backrooms Game. I again played this to show the same friend. This is an incredibly simple project made, I think, by one person. It is a free game where you essentially just try to find your way out of the backrooms. It's procedurally generated. It's completely random, and there's essentially one central mechanic where you have to look at your watch, breathe, and think clearly every like minute or so. Otherwise, whatever presence is in the backrooms gets easier and easier to track you, and you do not want that, obviously. There's not too much to say about it. Again, it's very simple, but it is very effective in what it does. There's some cool like visual effects that happens if the monster gets close enough or the game goes on too long. But like I said, it's made by one dude. It's basically just seems to be like a test to see if they could make a game by themselves. And I think on that sense, it succeeds at being a test, it succeeds at being a game made by one person, and I think it succeeds at being a game based around the Backrooms. I love the Backrooms as an idea, as in a concept. It's very interesting. I kind of like the whole atmosphere that the Backrooms provide. I find it oddly comforting in a weird sense, but I find a lot of liminal spaces comforting when I don't think they should be, I guess. A lot of people don't think that they should be, but what do I know? I have a whole video about Cry of Fear and its contemporary gray on my channel that I will link here. I think Cry of Fear is a classic, honestly. It's heavily inspired by Silent Hill, I think, unabashedly. I think for its time, it was the scariest game ever made. I think a lot of games have beaten it in terms of fear, legitimate fear, but I think for a long while, Cry of Fear was the scariest game that you could play. It does something that very few games are able to do, which is it makes the dark scary. I don't think that being able to do that is as celebrated as it should be, because so many horror games, I should say, put you in the dark to be scary. And there are so many horror games that do that are not scary. Cry of Fear is one of the games that can put you in the dark, and you will feel fear from that. I think that is commendable, especially for a mod of a Half-Life game, and 2, a mod made by like 5 people or something like that. I don't know how big the team was, but it wasn't very big. There is an insane amount of polish in this game. There is an insane amount of care and love and passion put into this game that people still resonate with today. And it's free. Play Cry of Fear. It's very, very good. And if you like Cry of Fear, play Gray. Made by a different set of people, but very much following in the footsteps of Cry of Fear. It even features the same voice actor, which is something that I can't believe that I forgot to mention, even if only briefly in my Remorse video. Cry of Fear, Gray, and Remorse the List all feature the same voice actor, which means in some weird sense, as a fan, they're all kind of part of the same trilogy, even though they're absolutely not, but, that's a nice little touch. But yeah, Cry of Fear is, as I said before, it's a legitimate classic in terms of horror games. This might not be as long as I thought it was. I am kind of blowing through these, but, whatever. Maybe it's better that I kind of blow through them than go into excruciating detail. Would you guys rather I go into excruciating detail for every single game I talk about? Or would you rather a 2 to 3 minute kind of boom, 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 boom? Let me know. The next game I played was more Vampire Survivors. Talked about Vampire Survivors last time. Vampire Survivors is a good game. Vampire Survivors is only $3. Vampire Survivors is worth your $3. Buy Vampire Survivors. It is a roguelike that requires zero brain it is a roguelike that requires 0 brain power, and it is a perfect podcast game. You walk around and you just collect shit that blows more shit up. It's fun, it's fantastic, and it is $3. I'll put gameplay footage of it here. Just know, if you haven't heard me talk about this, or if you haven't heard anybody talk about this, the only control that I am clicking is the D-pad, okay? That's the whole game. You just walk around. It's great. It doesn't sound like it should be great, but guess what?
It's fucking great, mate.
Remorse the List. I beat this game 4 times. I think that's all I need to say. Granted, I beat it 4 times because it's super short, but it's my most recent video. I have a lot to say about just the world design of Remorse the List in my video, but if you wanted to know my general opinion on it, whether or not I enjoyed the game, I did enjoy the game. I do think that it feels a little unfinished. I really wish that the team who made it just left it in the oven for another couple months to flesh out some more stuff. But I think overall, for $20, it's not too bad. I think my biggest criticism about Remorse the List is that Gray, which is free, arguably has more replay value. But I don't know. Apparently, there's some stuff in Remorse the List I haven't seen yet, which I kind of find shocking that I haven't been able to get to it. But what do I know? I did not. I haven't gotten the bad ending. Maybe the bad ending provides like some other thing, or maybe I need to get all 3 endings before I can get like the real ending. I don't know. I didn't think that getting the bad ending meant the real ending. I don't know. I have no idea. But I got the good ending and the neutral ending. I didn't really talk about the story. Let me talk about the story very quickly. Who cares? I don't talk about stories in my videos unless I think it needs to be talked about or is worth talking about. And for better or for worse, the story for Remorse the List is kind of forgettable. It's fine. It's there for a reason. It's there because it has to be there, but like that's my rule. I talk about the game and the gameplay, and if the story's part of what makes the game good and the gameplay good, I will talk about it in my video. The story does not help or hurt this game, so I did not talk about it. But it's $20. It's a good time, and like I say in my video, the blueprint for an open world horror game is laid out very well in Remorse the List. I just wish that the team made more of an effort to make the open world worthwhile. Alright. You guys ready for me to get frustrated? I fucking hate this game. I hate this game with all of my heart. I don't care who knows how much I hate Dark Souls 3. It is one of the least enjoyable games I have ever committed time to. I replayed this game because I wanted to beat the trilogy before I picked up Elden Ring again. The Dark Souls trilogy before I beat Elden Ring again. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it because I have to play through this one again. I detest almost every single aspect about this game. In my video on Dark Souls 3, I said, I don't hate this game. I kinda get it now. It's not my favorite, it's my least favorite Souls game, but I kinda get it now. I get it, I still kinda get it now. But guess what? I have returned to fucking hating this game. It is a piece of shit. I don't understand why people like this game even a little bit. Even a little bit. I hate it. It makes me angry that it exists. This is one of the genuine most frustrating games that has ever existed in my life. Playing this game makes me doubt my enjoyment of video games as a medium, okay? I hate this fucking game. I wish it did not exist. It just makes me so frustrated because people think this is like the best one. Why? Because the bosses are good? The bosses suck dick. Every single one sucks. All of them are shit. Every one. The only one that's fun, maybe there's like 3. The armor fucking thing, the Dragon Slayer armor is a good fight. That one is genuinely enjoyable. I like fighting the big Dragon Slayer armor. Vort's fine. Is there another one? I don't know. I don't think there is. Pontiff? All my homies hate Pontiff. Everything this game sets out to accomplish goes against every reason I like Souls games. It's unbelievable how much this game is anti-me. Okay? If you like this game, I envy you. There is almost no game in existence I want to enjoy more than this one. I want to be able to say what I said at the end of my video and mean it now. But I can't. I can't even sit here and say, it's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. That's all I want to be able to say. I can't. This game is dog shit. It's so fucking awful. I almost cannot even comprehend it. I fucking hate this game. I want to remove it from my Steam account, but I'm not going to. Because it's gonna sit there and taunt me for the end of time until I understand why people like this fucking atrocious excuse for code on my computer. The next game I played was Resident Evil Remake. This is one of my favorite games ever made. I've essentially made 3 videos on the Resident Evil remake. I feel no remorse, the list, giving this a 10 out of 10. It is the best puzzle box game I've ever played. It's arguably the best horror game I've ever played, depending on whether or not I feel like crying or not, in which case Silent Hill 2 is the best horror game I've ever played. It's got some of the best atmosphere of any horror game I've ever played. It's got some of the best graphics even still with its pre-rendered backgrounds. I love the fixed cameras. I love the combat. I love the inventory management. I love the story, even though it's so stupid and it's beautiful. I fucking love it. It's amazing. Every single thing about this game is so articulate and perfectly designed and so just... The next game I played was Poppy Playtime. This is now free, apparently. This is why I got it. I will not be buying the second chapter because of... I've heard a lot of shit about the developers, and I don't mean to throw a bunch of shade at the developers because I looked into why people hate these devs so much, and I think most of it has to do with them making this version, this chapter free, and charging for the second chapter, and also just, like, marketing their shit into absolute oblivion immediately. But, like, from what I understand, these developers that made this game are, like, 23 max? And if I had a property that I made at the age of 23 that blew up as much as Poppy Playtime, I would probably try to market it just as much as they are. Maybe not that much, but I get it. I'm not mad at them for trying to market their thing that just exploded out of nowhere. They're stoked about it. I can't blame them. They also, like, allegedly kind of, like, stole the idea from somebody else. I played the demo. I wish I kind of kept it up here. I'll talk about that briefly after this. There's some similarities. I don't think it's fair to say that they outright stole it. It's definitely similar, but I don't know. I can't rag on the developers too much for what they're doing, but Poppy Playtime as a single chapter, especially a free chapter, I think is definitely worth playing. It's got some good spooks. It's got a really good chase at the end, even though it is a little... It does feel unfair. It feels impossible to succeed on your first try at that chase if you've never done it before. That's like my one criticism. But, I mean, who's to say that it's not impossible? You know, it just feels that way. But it's got some good puzzles. It's a very well-polished little chapter from a small new team. And exploring abandoned buildings is my shit. And this does it very, very, very well. I'm not complaining about Poppy Playtime. I will complain about Poppy Playtime too. Oh look, Slay the Spire. I already talked about this, but, you know, it's great. The end. Nightmare of Decay. This is a fantastic game that my friend Wild Potato Industries, aka Devin, told me about. That is essentially a Unity fan edition of Resident Evil. It plays almost identically in terms of, like, its game design. Big spooky mansion, big puzzle box mansion, zombos, guns, shoot. There's no inventory management to speak of. That's the one criticism I would say. I think a game like this really would benefit from inventory management and, like, an item box, especially for all of the other aspects of the game to fit so seamlessly with the original mechanics of Resident Evil, apart from the item box and the fixed cameras, I guess. But this goes to show that Resident Evil, as a strict first-person shooter, does work, even more so, I think, than Resident Evil 7. Maybe not as more so, but this feels more focused than 7, which is really bizarre to say. But it's a very, very good game. You can beat it pretty quickly. I think it's maybe $5? How much is this? Yeah, it's $5. And I believe that they're working on DLC. I could be wrong about that, actually. But yeah, like, it took me about just over 2.5 hours to beat it. I don't regret a single second that I spent with it. It's very fun. It's very satisfying. The only thing that I really had an issue with has been patched out, to be honest. And the thing that I didn't like was it used a stamina system, which inherently isn't a bad thing. But initially, when the game was brand new, your stamina system would just be a part of your normal sprinting. So if you were running for whatever reason, your stamina bar would deplete, and it would deplete really quickly. It would be very easy to run out of stamina before you could clear a room to get to another door. And then it would take upwards of like 10 seconds for it to be fully recharged once it depleted. Maybe more like 5 seconds, but that feels like a long time when you're stuck walking at half your normal walking speed, trying to get somewhere. But what they did in the patch is your stamina bar only comes into play when there's enemies around. So if you're just trying to clear an empty hallway or an empty room, you can run as long as you want to. And that essentially, in my opinion, clears up basically the only real issue I had with this game. So if that sounds at all interesting to you, an indie Unity Resident Evil fan game, then play Nightmare Decay. It's $5. You won't have a bad time. I promise you that you're going to like it if that sounds even the least bit interesting to you. It's not very scary, I will say that, but it services all of the things that made Resident Evil what it was, just about. My favorite Dark Souls game. Oh, I love Dark Souls 2 so much. I love Dark Souls 2 so much, I literally own the Scholar of the First Sin edition and the original edition, okay? I'm playing through the original edition right now because I don't know if you know this. Scholar of the First Sin is essentially it's an official mod, kind of. It touches up some graphics here and there. It made it more presentable for PS4 and Xbox One consoles, generation, I guess, than the original release did. But people rag on this game. The thing is, I understand why people don't like this one as much. I don't knock people for disliking it as much as like 1 or 2. I mean, for as much as the first one. I will never understand why people like it more than 3, or 3 more than this one, but I've already gone over that. I think a lot of it has to come down to how slow it is and its ADP. The ADP specifically being a big thing about why people don't like it. To be completely honest, I do understand why people don't like ADP. I don't think it was implemented nearly as well as it should have been. My friend puts it very well. They don't like ADP because it is a visual disconnect between what is actually happening on the screen and what mechanically is happening behind the scenes. So if you don't know, I'm going to just do this very briefly. ADP affects your iframes when you dodge. So in Dark Souls 1, if you fast roll, you have an specified amount of iframes. If you medium roll, you have a specified amount of iframes. If you heavy roll, you have a specified amount of iframes. In Dark Souls 2, if you light roll, your ADP affects your iframes. So you can light roll and have less iframes than someone else who's light rolling because their ADP is higher. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? But the animation is exactly the same. So there is this weird visual mechanical disconnect that's happening on screen when you dodge. And I understand why that's not good. I don't dislike the idea of ADP. I think an easy fix, maybe like behind the scenes coding wise, would not have been easy, but if they had just been able to adjust the animation based on the ADP level, I think that would have fixed a lot of people's problems. But that's not what they did. But I fucking love this game. Dark Souls 2, it is comfort food for me at this point. I've beaten this game, I think, 8 times. I'm about to beat it a 9th time. It's one of my all-time favorite games, unironically. I can put this on at any point in my life just about and just enjoy the game. I'm currently going through a hex build, which is something I've never done before, but I fucking love this game. I want to play it, honestly, right now. I fucking love Dark Souls 2. The thing is, though, I understand it's not... I think mechanically and objectively in world design, it's objectively not as good as the first one. But it just does something right. I don't know if I could ever pinpoint what this one does more than one that I enjoyed more. But yeah, there's something about this one that just does it for me. One other thing I want to talk on is the other reason people don't seem to like this one as much is because it's too slow. Dude, maybe they're right, but to me, this is just as fast, if not maybe like the hairest, tiniest bit slower than the first one. In my opinion, it's not much. if at all, any slower than Dark Souls 1. I don't understand where people come from when they say that. People say it's a good game, but not a good Dark Souls game. I don't understand. I cannot comprehend what people mean when they say that. Like, even if I enjoyed Dark Souls 3, there is no possible way that my brain could say that it is more akin to what a Dark Souls game should play like. Because I think the best Dark Souls trilogy is Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and Dark Souls 2. Those 3 games are what I think the Souls games should feel like. And Dark Souls 3 is just like this weird outlier. I really wish it was Bloodborne 2. I would probably like it because I like Bloodborne. What the fuck are you gonna do? People will ride Miyazaki's dick until the end of time, no matter even if the game they make is bad. Whatever. I'm over it. Risk of Rain 2, I recently started replaying with some friends of mine. This is such a good game. The music is incredible. It's a go between planets, trying to find like these like portals that like send you to more planets, and you try to get to like this big dude, and he kills you, and then you die, and you start over. When you play it with friends, it becomes like a completely different game. I don't know, maybe not a completely different game. It's just more enjoyable with friends. You can get these just insane builds, like out of nowhere, where you just do thousands of damage per second to just bosses and just one-shot them essentially. It's incredibly rewarding. The music's immaculate. The graphics are super stylized and very nice to look at. The shooting feels fun. There's a bunch of different characters. They all feel unique, which is very commendable. But like one of the craziest things about the way that this game operates is that it's computing hundreds, thousands, possibly tens of thousands of numbers every single second, and it does not slow down even a little bit. The people that made this game know what they're doing. This is an incredibly enjoyable game to play with friends, even solo. Even though I don't really play this game solo, I play with my friends. You're constantly getting new items, you're constantly finding new like builds, even though it's kind of hard to focus a build because all the items you get are completely random, but you kind of that's part of the fun, is taking what you get and just kind of working with what you have, you know what I mean? It's very, 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 very good. The last game we're going to talk about is what I played today, Stolen Realm. I talked about this in my first, what I played. This is a very, very fun, turn-based, tactical RPG, that its whole kind of gimmick is that any kind of character can be any kind of character. You can have a paladin that is strictly good with bows. You can have a thief that tanks. You can have a mage that uses great swords, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. There's, I think, 6 skill sets, maybe 7. There's like fire abilities, ice abilities, thief abilities, warrior abilities, etc., etc., and with skill trees for all of those. And any character can pick from any of those. There's no limit. So that's kind of where a lot of the fun is on this. It's decently challenging. If you're playing on normal, you'll probably be fine. If you play on champion, which is the next highest level, you do kind of feel the difficulty. Me and my friends are having a little rough time getting through champion, but I think part of it is us not talking very well. But that's besides the point. It's still a very, very enjoyable game. Highly recommend it. It's a good old time. And that was what I played for half of the month of May and all of April. April was pretty slow. Although I did play the Souls games during April too, so... But that's what I'm saying, is like, I played Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and Dark Souls 1 all in April, and yet they're all in May. So I gotta start making notes. There are a couple other games that I did play that aren't on Steam. I'll go over one of them. And that was Silent Hill Downpour. Why did I play Silent Hill Downpour? Honestly, because Remorse the List made me want to play an open world horror game, and I tried playing all the ones I could think of offhand, and Silent Hill Downpour is not very good, and I really wish it was. That's all I played for the month of, that's what I played. That's what I played, everybody. Sorry this one is taking so long. It doesn't sound like I'm sick, but I am just getting over COVID. So I promise you I am sick. I can't believe I finally got it. But Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, really, really appreciate it. Getting that AdSense, baby. I never do this, but I would really appreciate it if you did like the video and subscribe. I'm trying to get my numbers up. I really would appreciate it. Thank you so much. I love your face. I love your show.